So in this lesson, I'd like to talk a little bit about the switch statement for C++. And actually, right now, what we're looking at is C Sharp. This is one of the labs that you guys worked on for when we were working on C Sharp. And this one is where we showed a menu, and then we used the switch statement um, based on whatever the user's choice was to decide um, what we were going to do here. So the important part right here is that we're looking at is the switch statement. So we have switch, we have a variable in here, and then the different cases. And after each case, we have a break, which basically says, jump to the end. Don't try to execute any of these other ones. So in C++, we do basically the same thing. We show our menu, we get our choice, and then we do our switch statement to process the choices. And, we're using cout here instead of console.write line, and we have to have our carriage returns at the end. In C Sharp, saying write line takes care of adding a carriage return at the end of the line, but in C++ we need this guy. So it's basically the same idea. There are some differences, some minor differences between switch statements in C Sharp and in C++ that you should be aware of. So in C Sharp, one of the differences is that in C Sharp you can actually switch on things that aren't integers, like you can switch on string. In C++ you can't do that. You have to, whatever you're switching on has to ultimately, so here's C++, has to ultimately translate into some kind of an integer. So you can use single characters because those will translate. They're ASCII characters, and they'll just translate into whatever their ASCII, whatever ASCII number that those characters correspond to. So you can use characters, but typically we use integers or something that it has to be something that evaluates to an integer. And what else? Oh, and in C Sharp, you need to have, like this won't compile. You need to have a break or some kind of a statement that makes the next case unreachable. Whereas in C++, if I eliminated this break statement, I'll just comment it out, and I picked option 3, basically what would happen is, instead of breaking and going to the end of the switch statement, we would just fall through and do case 3 and case 4. So let me just show you what that would look like. If I say F5, yes, I want to build it. So if I pick choice 3, see, it does options and it says thank you for playing. Okay. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put the quit option in here. Okay. Whereas if I just put in the 4 for quit, it'll just do the quit. Okay, so you have to be careful basically about making sure you put in your breaks. Generally, what you want to do is have a break at the end of each of these cases. And also, it's a good idea to have a default, something that you do if everything else fails. All right, that's the switch statement in C++.